Mark chapter 6. The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught, and he said to them, "Come away to a deserted place, all by yourselves, and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure time even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a deserted place by themselves. Now many of them saw them going and recognized them, and they hurried there on foot from all the towns and arrived ahead of them. And as he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion, because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach. When they had crossed over, they came to a land at Gennesaret, and moored at the boat. And when they got out of the boat, people at once recognized him, and rushed about the whole region, and began to bring the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into villages or cities or farms, they laid the sick in the marketplaces, and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak. And all who touched it were healed. The Sabbath day has always been seen a day of rest, to recuperate, to recharge. Jesus was trying to get his disciples to do the same, to rest in their ministry, to take stock, to reflect. We as a worshipping community at whatever level do this when we get together to pray. So although therefore we need to become a 7-day-a-week church, the significant day of the week for us is the first day, the Lord's Day, to remind us of God's love and to remind us what it looks like and how we can make it manifest in our own lives. And at the centre of our worship is Jesus, who had enormous passion for the world. He healed the vulnerable and the sick. He gives his life for the many. He beckoned children and gave them prominence in his new church. And in the parable of the sheep and the goats, he commissioned us to serve him in the outcast. If the foundation stones of what we do and how we are is God's love, then the bricks that lay along the foundation stones are reason, experience, scripture, tradition, rest. But what spiritual journey are we resting from? Exodus chapters 3 and 4, Isaiah's vision in chapter 6, the Annunciation in Luke 1, the Emmaus Road experience in Luke 24, chapter 10 of the Acts of the Apostles. All these stories say the same thing, which is God initiates, the person experiences as discomfort or fusion between the humanity and what they know of the presence of the divine. And then God speaks, and the person responds, and then there is the Great Commission. Are we open to this process, or are we scared? And once more, so therefore we return to reason, experience, scripture, tradition, rest, to provide us with how God has initiated, how we have felt, and how our response and God's promptings are already occurring. Reason. We all have been given brains and intelligence, albeit to different and a variety of levels. We have, though, the ability to rationalize and to make decisions based on those rationale. When people feel that they are godlike and can fly, or God will save them, then invariably, for one reason or another, their ability to reason has been denied, either through mental ill health or by narcotics, as an example. God has given us reason as part of who we are. We therefore cannot live in a totally heavenly world devoid of all reason. A colleague of mine was once called too heavenly to be of any earthly good. We are all called to be earthly. The incarnation of God in Jesus is testament to the importance of being earthly that God has. We all have experience of life which feeds into our lives and our ability to live. That is how we learn that putting our hand in flames is unhealthy, lying to our parents is unhealthier. That learning our times tables makes numeracy 3 times as fast as it could be. We have experience of God. If only you knew what God was like, and therefore we could therefore recognize God. This is our spiritual journey. Scripture. What is God like? Have we experienced God? Is God a reasonable entity to believe in? Many people have had experience of experiencing God, and the greatest single collection of books where people have had the experience of the divine in ancient times is the Bible. It doesn't mean that God's interaction in the world is confined to biblical times, definitely not. But there is enough stories for us to begin to develop an understanding of God in the scriptures, which we then use as a mirror against our reasoning and experience, and let all 3 form each other. Because our understanding of the scriptures will change us as we develop in experience and reasoning. Tradition. How this is all expressed is through our traditions. The evangelical tradition is only almost 150 years old, and the Oxford movement of Anglo-Catholicism is not much older. But they are our traditions, whichever camp we see ourselves within, and whichever one has formed us to who we are today. Don't deny this, because a journey requires movement by its very definition, and many have traditions changed based on experience of life. But the centre is the acronym REST: reason, experience, scripture, tradition. Rest. Every journey needs rest, and together reason, experience, scripture and tradition make rest. And we need to spend that spiritual time reflecting and taking stock. So for the next 6 months, as my job becomes, as ordained, to bring the 4 churches of St Newlyn East, St Michael's and St Colin Minor and St Colin closer together, there shall be times of listening, times of action and times of rest. Because every runner will know it is in the rest times that the training is allowed to take effect.